Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, even though it's almost over, 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I just got sad. I'm Pete Mummert.
Aw.
I'm Jerry Porter, and I'm a pinch happy.
And we are joined once again by a guest who needs no introduction, so I won't. Hello, Christy.
Hi, guys.
Professor Christy
Hi, guys.
Porter joins us again.
Glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here for minute 112, which begins with kids being tossed in the air with joy, and it ends with Willie saying no thanks to Delhi.
That being tossed in the air with joy also kind of makes me nervous because these kids have, again, a lot of them have suffered some pretty severe trauma, physical trauma, and that does not seem like the best way to welcome them back, which does sort of, I think, it reinforce the idea that maybe these aren't their kids.
What? Not their kids?
Christy hasn't heard this.
Oh
yet.
my God! Not their kids? What?
See, I think Indy kind of burned off the real kids searching for the Sankara stones in the crocodile-infested waters. And after he got the other two stones, he picked up some other stray kids on the way back, and those are who we're seeing here. And these parents, being so desperate to have kids back in their lives, just ran with it.
Wow. Kind of cold, Pete.
Yeah. That's Admiral Mummert.
Yeah, they'll never notice. They'll never notice there's somebody else's kids. They're all the same.
They don't look like the same kids from the mine. I'm just going to reiterate that.
Well, no, they don't look like the same.
What is? I'm not sure what that means. Like you recognize specific kids or anything?
They
It's
seem
like a mass
smaller.
of kids.
They see like the kids in the mine. A lot of them were bigger than Shorty, and these kids.
Well, they walked all the way from the palace. They're probably starved, even more so than they were.
They wore out their feet or something?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that the kids actually looked suspiciously healthy as well.
Uh-huh.
So I was a little concerned maybe they left some of their sicker comrades back in the courtyard, where at Pankot's, where those happy elephants were a mural on the wall.
Yeah,
remember those elephants? Yeah. So
Wow, now who's dark?
Yeah,
Oh.
kind of went straight to Lord of the Flies there.
Yeah.
well, we can't quite place those kids, can we? We don't know where they are.
I like that. They're back. They're in the palace, and like all the adults are gone, and
They're just like they have like a cloth over their forehead, lying there moaning. It just
is
Yeah.
it the Maharaja's Jack or whatever? Isn't it?
Hard to know what happened to that guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have parents in the village.
Well, then we do have an answer for Tom here.
Oh yeah.
When the shaman says, quote, "We knew you were coming back when it looked like we lived in Wisconsin."
Yeah. Yeah. When the butter churn started working again.
And I think the subtext is, and then when we saw the exhaust from the Rolls Royce driving up the hill.
Obviously.
Yeah. But we were talking about this before, but I'd like to know like when that was. Like, is it when Indy first took the stones out of that skull, or is it when he grabbed the last one from Molaram and as he's falling off the thing? I don't know.
I kind of wanted to know how they knew to look for water or to set up the water wheel again, or
Yeah.
if this is a well. I spent way too much time thinking about this. So if this was a well, did anybody look down the well to say like, hey, there's water in there again? I couldn't quite figure it out.
Yeah, what have they been using that well for since it's not been a well? Like
Throw
the water
stuff.
might be
Throw
disgusting.
stuff in
when
I
it
think
comes
it was like a reservoir for collecting tears.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
And then they had to drink those,
Uh-huh.
Sure.
I'm suddenly picturing like a Jean de Florette situation where everyone's dancing around the well when the water's coming out.
Good use of Jean de Florette there. Kind of sneaky. Just sneak it right in there.
I have some French in my notes.
Oh, yeah?
Can I say that French in
also
my
good.
notes?
Yeah.
I say that Indy would make a really good sommelier, the way he presents the stone to the shaman. He presents it as though he's like showing him the label of a wine
You're
bottle.
right.
You're absolutely right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you like to sniff the bottle cap?
Well, is this just mean? Because it seems like if the stone brings this much life and happiness and vibrancy to a village, wouldn't it be criminal not just walk all over the earth carrying it around?
Wasn't that the idea, actually? Wasn't that the point of the stones in the first place, according to the story?
Yes. Why, actually, yes.
So these villages are kind of grubby,
Yeah.
selfish bastards.
They aren't that much different than Mola Ram.
No.
Especially if they're just kidnapping these kids. They are
It's a
exactly
shadow
like Mola
reflection
Ram.
of them.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a terrible point.
Wait,
That kind of ruins the movie.
Terrible?
Well,
Yeah.
maybe if because Mola Ram kind of hinted that maybe the British gave it to the Mayapur village. Maybe this was a British ploy to keep, India from having too much prosperity, and so they could kind of keep them under their thumb. Oh, we're just going to keep the stone here in this little village.
Yeah. Maybe.
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 That's the most improbable Scrooge McDuck line we've heard.
If I were more self-loathing, I might put some crickets after that.
Well, then we have an interesting line. Now you see the magic of the rock you bring back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what's interesting is it's directed at Indy, but it's really a thumb in the eye to Willie because, she said, magic rocks. Yeah, whatever. And then launched into my grandfather, made a lot of kids happy and died a very poor man. And now she's in the eye of the storm here where she has to witness a scene where, Indy relinquishes treasure and power, but makes a lot of kids happy.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem so troubled about that at all.
No.
I just think she knows that he's taken the diamonds out already.
Come on, a rock. Yeah.
Right. Well, she seems to have recovered, really fast. She's looking great. She's got her little suit on. She's got her hair fixed. I'm not sure how she had time to get all dolled up again on the walk back from Pankot. Don't know, but she's in great spirits.
Although we actually have no idea how long they've been gone. Like they could have spent a couple of weeks relaxing and swimming in the Pankot pool.
I don't think they've left for Pankot yet. I think this is a couple of weeks ago. Call me crazy.
It's interesting though because Indy doesn't ever get a thank you. Like the shaman doesn't say thank you. And not only that,
funny.
but then Indy kind of like when the shaman tells him, now you can see the magic of the rock you bring back. And Indy has kind of a dead-eyed, like it's a really weird, just kind of, yes, I understand its power now. And I think, I think he's still under the influence of the shaman's, whatever, the Shiva sandwich.
Maybe, because I have in my notes that this is the most un-Indiana Jones line in any of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got a little, it's you say it's deadpan, but it's like, it's got a little like forced emotion to it or something like, yes, I see its power now. Like, I almost want to sit here for the rest of the minute and let you guys just tell me what in the hell that line means, because I don't know. It's right up there with Fortune and Glory. What does Indiana Jones know about the power of the stone besides that if you say the right words, it'll glow?
Well, he knows that it brought this village back to life. I mean, if he believes the shaman,
I guess.
Which I guess
I don't know.
if they were here 4 days ago and now they're back and it went from being a desolate wasteland to being this beautiful Tuscan village, I think you would kind of say, yeah, I guess Shiva's got some power. These stones have some power.
Yeah, that rock must have brought the plants back. It's cause and effect.
I'm not even sure why he was all that interested in the rock. It's not even that great looking a rock.
No.
It's really, as far as the props are concerned, that's, they really could have done it. I mean, it needed to glow and stuff like that, but it looks a little plasticky, don't you think?
It does.
Well, is it possible that Indy's just trying to patronize the shaman here? And he's just telling him what he thinks? Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh,
yeah, powerful.
totally.
Yep, I see.
Never seen such a powerful rock. You guys are lucky.
Boy, you guys are lucky. It's interesting because he's like, now you see the power of the rock. And so if you kind of thumb through your little brain there, and you're like, all right, the power of the rock. You're like, okay, well, if it's not here in this village, the wells dries up, the livestock turn to dust, it's brought back, and it looks like you're in in Wisconsin. And then you're like, oh, and also, I guess it kind of like is a conduit for like invoking Kali, and then using Kali's power through the rock to pull hearts out and still keep people alive.
Well, see, now I wonder if you could use this for any god. Like, I wonder if it could be used for any kind of divinity.
Why would it be a non-specific rock?
Well, we know it can be used for both Shiva and Kali. And is it just...
Okay, well, they're related.
They are related, so it's possible that it only works for those two. But then it seems to be pretty wide-ranging in its power.
Powerful,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you know the power of the rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one of the... Tom, you're talking about what that line means. And
yeah.
What I'm thinking is, so Indy, we're all good. Like, we got all this hocus pocus, you sound like the boogeyman stuff squared away, right? Like, he's experienced firsthand the supernatural. So he's never going to be skeptical again, is he?
Right. So that's the thing. Like, people, this is what gets me frustrated when people talk about, like, oh, yeah, this is clearly a prequel and there's an arc to Indiana. Like, there's no arc. Like, it's reset every single movie. Like, he's a skeptic, and then he sees something, and then he kind of believes in some stuff, but not everything. And then he goes right back to the, hocus pocus.
Well, there's like a mini arc in each movie. Like, you get the movie arc, and then he resets.
Yeah, so it's not something you can track across the movies, though.
Right.
Well, that actually makes it even stranger. That line is even stranger then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the next line that comes up makes it really strange, too, is because Willie says you could have kept it, and he goes, what for? They just put it in a museum. It'd be another rock collecting dust. And that's...
Right.
Yeah, what a goofy thing to do.
Yeah, that's exactly the opposite of his belief in the next movie.
Well, you know what? That freaked me out at first, too. I was like, whoa, what's he talking about? He's nothing but disdain for museums. That doesn't sound like the Indy we know. But the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, well, it's like he knows that he's downplaying it. He's like, yes, I would have been rich. I would have gotten fortune and glory. It would have been awesome. But these people needed it, so I'm being the hero. I'm, I just would have gotten, it would have been another rock in a museum collecting dust. Like, he's just downplaying it.
Those are his only motivations in the next movie.
Right.
Well, he's actually better at it in the next movie. So it might make more sense that he's like, oh, it's not a big deal in this movie, because he's not actually being that great an archaeologist in this movie, but in the next movie he's very clearly an he's got tenure, he's clearly an archaeologist, so then maybe it's more important to be that way in the next movie.
No, see, I'm saying it is hugely important to him, but he's making a big sacrifice and giving it up to them and just trying to play cool. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
He absolutely would have loved to have kept that and put it in a museum and get fortune and glory from it, but he knows that he's doing the right thing. It's like, big deal. Museum, fortune and glory. It's what I do. It's my entire purpose for being on this earth. I'll let them have the rock. They need it more than I do.
So is this would, if that's the case, this would be the only movie, right? Well, at least of the original trilogy, where he makes the quote unquote right decision.
Well, what's interesting is, in Raiders, he's powerless at the end.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He is.
Like, what would he have done?
Well, he would have put it in the third floor Marshall College.
That's right.
Annex.
That's right.
That joke was never funny. Never.
Oh, come on!
I'm not talking about Marshall College.
My note here is, then we get the weirdest line of the movie. What for? They just put it in a museum. It would just be another rock collecting dust. Did that just happen?
Yeah.
I feel like my brain is splitting because I don't understand any of this, and it doesn't really. It's completely out of sync with everything from. It's certainly the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, Well,
that's what I'm saying. I think
it's crazy.
I'm saying I think it tracks with that. It's just his attitude here is that he's making a huge sacrifice and he's just downplaying it.
There is one other option of what he can do here, though, because she says you could have kept it, and he's like, what for? And then she says, but it would have given you your fortune and glory. And then Indy says, anything can happen. And so it's also possible that he's planning to wait until night on his, when they're on their way to Delhi, and he just sneaks back into town and grabs it.
Well, you know what, Pete? This is my biggest present for you. Second 47, okay? Second 47, when Willie says you could have kept it, Indy is literally stashing something in his pocket. Everybody go look at second 47.
Oh my
God. He absolutely is.
He literally is stashing something in his pocket when she says you could have kept it.
Jerry, you are sly.
And then
beautiful.
Sly.
You're absolutely right.
And that there you go, Pete. And I have as a lanyap for you, Pete, as a little lanyap. Exactly. It would have given you your fortune and glory. And he says anything can happen, meaning clearly he kept the diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kept the diamond.
And it's a callback to Anything Goes at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was all about them getting the diamond. So I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, then how are they gonna keep that wonderful? If he keeps the diamonds, how is the rock gonna work now?
It's not. Yeah. It's all just it's not.
Indy gets the glory for saving the village because everyone's going to say, oh, look at this. And then as soon as he leaves town, they're going to be like, hey, this rock's not working very well anymore. But he's long gone.
He's a more hardcore skeptic than he ever has been before. He's like, look, I know this is baloney. I'm going to knock the diamonds out of here. These dummies are going to think that everything is green because of the rock.
And I'm going to steal the children.
He'll be back in the Bay Area before anyone notices.
And literally, that's he's like, I brought the kids back, whatever. They're not their kids, but they didn't say anything.
I didn't say to bring the kids.
Yeah.
I
just said kids. I just said kids.
I feel a lot better now.
With Willie's, I feel like at the end of this minute, okay, we find out what fortune and glory meant. It literally meant keeping the Sankara stone, which that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I'm just saying it. I'm tired. Stop shoehorning in fortune and glory.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have given you your fortune and glory. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They managed to get that across in Raiders without saying fortune and glory once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
Yeah.
No, I've been defending this movie against you jackals the entire time, but I'm Team Jackal this time. I think the fortune and glory thing doesn't make sense.
Oh, gloves come off.
I mean, literally, we just have a scene with, these liberated children reunited with their parents and fathers kissing smiling cherubic cheeks. And I mean, we get this, you could have kept it. How about your fortune and glory? It's like, are you seeing what's going on? Like 5 seconds behind you right here? And you want to say, hey, Willie, how about we wait till 20 minutes outside the village before broaching that subject?
Yeah. Yeah, you could have screwed these people over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just trying to ixnay on the own stay. Yeah, that was beautiful, Jerry. I think you nailed it there.
Oh, thank you, Pete. I said my biggest gift to you the entire movie. Second 47 of minute 112.
Well, is anybody going to top that? Do we have anything else for 112?
Wait a second.
Yeah?
Something's coming through the wire.
Wait, Christy's already come through the wire.
Wait a minute.
Christy telegraphed from within the show?
Wait a minute. No.
Call's coming from inside the house.
Wait, something. Wait a second. It's not a beep it. It's a boop 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 boop. This just in from Mimi Porter.
Hey.
Esquire.
Who wants to see more of the shaman? It's a good point. I do.
I do too.
I do.
Yeah.
I want to see more of the shaman.
Very convincing. Very convincing.
Crazy old man.
He has a beautiful cackle.
Oh, I love the cackle.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
And he does have beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful eyes and a beautiful cackle.
Yep.
And nice hands.
Yeah.
Okay, I love him.
And empty stones. Ugh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And actually, by the way, there is another interesting little tidbit here. As Indy says, another rock collecting dust, he literally picks up a dusty rock. He's like walking past a little, I don't know what it is, kind of like a little tiny wall or something.
Yeah,
Like a little, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually says another rock collecting dust, and he picks up a little dusty rock.
He's not even answering Willie anymore. He's just being Johnny Says What He Sees.
Wait a second. I can't do it.
Well, if that's going to do it for 112, we want to say, Chriser, thank you for joining us again.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Dragged you all the way back to India. And maybe you can come back tomorrow if you want to.
Oh, gosh. I'll check my schedule.
Who could say no? But Pete, where can people come if they can't wait until tomorrow to interact with us in some way?
Come to our Facebook group, Indiana Jones Minute and the Listener's Crusade, and join the conversation. We have lots of posts every day. People point out all kinds of crazy things about these movies we've never seen before, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, and check out our shirts on TeePublic. Go to indianajonesminute.com/what? Shop? Store? What is it? What's our
Something like
link
that.
over there?
Yeah.
We find the link to TeePublic on our site, and I was wearing my Lao She shirt the other day in Chicago, and somebody complimented me.
And thank you. One thing we've been a little remiss on, the idea for that shirt came from Alex Robinson from the Star Wars Minute. And
totally.
We haven't
On
said
air.
in a while, thank you, Pete and Alex from the Star Wars Minute. You guys have been very supportive, and we wouldn't exist without you guys, so thank
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yay.
3 cheers.
We could have kept it.
Hey guys, I'm putting this podcast in my pocket. Could you shut up?
All right. Well, everybody, pocket something that doesn't belong to you, and please come back next time for minute 113 of Temple of Doom here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Dusty Rock.
Wait, Pete, do your deadpan. I understand its power now.
Yes, I understand its power now.
Does he kind of says it like
That was nothing at all like how he said that.
no, he kind of says it like he's a little bit like, oh yeah.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah.
It's
little
either
bit.
that or, oh yeah, I know the plants talk to you, Grandpa. I know. Having an affair with a ficus.
My word.